In March 2025, Donald Trump announced a 20% tariff on Chinese goods, reigniting trade tensions between the world's two largest economies. China's response was swift, a suspension of soybean imports from three major American companies. Just days later, Chinese importers turned to Brazil, purchasing around 40 cargo ships carrying about 2.4 million tons of soybeans. Most of these shipments are scheduled between May and July, accounting for roughly one-third of China's monthly soybean demand. As this trade war continues to escalate, it's increasingly likely that China will further slash soybean imports from the United States, while Brazil emerges as the biggest winner. Some Western analysts even predict that Brazil could completely replace the United States as China's main soybean supplier in the near future. So, with China cutting back on American soybeans, what losses will United States farmers face? And is Brazil truly capable of fully taking America's place in China's agricultural market? If you enjoy our content, don't forget to subscribe to AY Global and stay updated with all our latest videos. Now let's dive into today's topic. In March 2025, as Trump pushed tariffs even higher, China Customs announced a suspension of soybean import licenses for three major U.S. companies. China justified the move by citing ergot toxin contamination and harmful seed coatings detected in the shipments, substances deemed unsafe for human health. This was a devastating hit. By 2024, China had accounted for 52% of total U.S. soybean exports, meaning that more than half of America's overseas market depended on Chinese buyers. Losing that demand was like cutting off the lifeline of American agriculture. The impact was immediate. The American Soybean Association projected that exports to China would drop by 40% in 2025, while 88 farms in the Midwest had already filed for bankruptcy. In Illinois, a farmer named Johnson crunched the numbers. His cost per acre had risen to $600, yet his income per acre barely reached $500. Ironically, the same tariff policy designed to make America great again had turned into a noose around the necks of U.S. farmers. China, on the other hand, felt little disruption because it had already found a reliable alternative: Brazil. Globally, Brazil is America's top rival in soybean production. In 2024, Brazil harvested 160 million tons from 38 million hectares, mainly across Mato Grosso, Paraná, and Goiás. The country's vast plains, abundant rainfall, and year-round sunshine make it perfect for mechanized farming. In the global export market, Brazil now holds a dominant position. By 2024, it was exporting 3.5 times more soybeans to China than the U.S., accounting for a massive 76% of China's total soybean imports. Projections show that by 2025, Brazil's soybean output could surpass 180 million tons, cementing its leadership. What makes this partnership even stronger is timing. Brazil's export season aligns perfectly with China's peak demand period. So when China reduced American imports, Brazil seamlessly filled the gap, ensuring a stable supply and nearly replacing the U.S. entirely. From 2019 to 2024, over 70% of China's soybeans came from Brazil each year, a clear sign of a long-term shift. After Trump's tariffs, Chinese importers rapidly expanded orders from Brazil. By April 2025, 40 giant ships loaded with 2.4 million tons of soybeans departed from Santos Port, Brazil's largest export hub. For American farmers along the Mississippi River, that sight was heartbreaking. They had just lost contracts worth about $1.1 billion to Brazilian producers. But this wasn't a one-time purchase. These shipments were part of a long-term supply agreement running from May to July, cleverly scheduled to avoid the period when new U.S. soybeans hit the market. As some Chinese netizens joked, the harder America swings its tariff stick, the happier Brazilian cranes are dancing at the ports. And indeed, it's no exaggeration. In 2023, China invested 4 billion yuan into a new terminal at Santos Port, which officially began operations in March 2025. The upgrade cut transportation time from 45 days to 30 and reduced freight costs per ton by 9%. Even more strategically, China and Brazil launched a soybeans for infrastructure model, where Brazil uses soybean revenue to expand railways, and China gains a faster, more secure food supply chain through joint construction. This mutually beneficial cooperation shattered Washington's illusion that tariffs could force Beijing to compromise. For American farmers, however, the outlook is grim. Trump's tariff-driven trade war shows no sign of slowing down, and China, once their largest buyer, is now turning elsewhere. Soybean growers and exporters have become casualties of this conflict, and it's not just soybeans. Corn has also taken a major hit. In August 2024, the U.S. exported only 240,000 tons of corn to China, compared to 1.5 million tons in 2022, a staggering 83% drop. Although some U.S. corn still enters China, the trend is clear. America is steadily losing its agricultural foothold, and Brazil is poised to take over. For nearly a decade, China did not import Brazilian corn, but by 2024, this changed, another sign of the U.S. losing dominance in global grain trade. Ultimately, the current economic strain on American farmers is a direct consequence of Trump's reciprocal tariff policy, a strategy that hurts others but benefits no one. In the end, it's the U.S. itself that pays the highest price. If you found this analysis insightful, make sure to subscribe to AY Global and turn on notifications so you never miss our next update. We'll continue bringing you in-depth, engaging stories about global trade, economy, and the shifting balance of power in the world.